Hello guys, my name is Desmond and I welcome you to my lesson for today. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for joining. Just make sure that you've got your mics muted. So just quickly mute that one over there. So ladies and gentlemen, in case if you are watching this lesson on my YouTube channel, just make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification so that every time when I upload a new lesson, you are able to quickly notice and catch up at the same time, so that when you attend the next lesson, you'll be at the same page as everyone else. So, good people, in today's lesson, we'll be looking at one of the past exam papers, and this is question 5 of obviously paper 1 of mathematics, of which I hope you will enjoy today's lesson. So remember guys, our group rules are such that as soon as you enter the lesson, you just need to make sure that you mute the mic from your side so that we don't get disturbed by the background noise. So what happens is, in case if you have your mic unmuted, as you've noticed, when I started with the lesson, someone had their mics unmuted. Some of you guys are not aware, you are new, you are attending my lessons for the first time. So just make sure that my admin sends the group rules few minutes before the lesson starts. So ladies and gentlemen, before I start with the business of the day, are you all good over there? Can someone just unmute their mic and let me know if all is well, and again, if you are able to see over there?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100%. I suppose we are all on the same page. So, ladies and gentlemen, quickly, let me read through the given statement. Obviously, you noticed I've sent an image in the group of this question paper. So I'll just quickly read through the given statement. Then we'll go through this sketched diagram over there. So the statement reads as follows: sketched below are the graphs of f of x is equals to a x squared plus q, and g of x is equals to 1 over 2 to the exponent x minus 4. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that at all times when you are given functions, just make sure to make note of the functions that you are given. So first and first, based on that statement that I read, we are given two functions. So can you see, this is Bra Franz of x, who is equals to ax squared plus q. Then again, there we've got Bra George of x, who's equals to 1 over 2 to the exponent x minus 4. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that before you even go to the sketched diagram, you are able to notice what type of a function is that. You are able to notice what type of a function is that. So for those of you who are attending my lesson for the very first time today, just make sure to catch up on the first part of the lesson where I explain all the introduction, all that you need to know with regards to this type of functions. So that's the first information that we're given. So let me continue to read, ladies and gentlemen. So A and B are the x-intercepts of f. The graphs intersect at A and point E, which has got the coordinates of 1 and 3, lies on F. C is the turning point of F, and D is the y-intercept of G. Good people, today's lesson, I want it to be special in a sense that I want to inspire those who attended, those who are attending my lesson for the very first time, just to indicate to them that we have gone through all of these types of functions and we have explored what means what and what means what. So remember, guys, just in case if you've got an answer to my question, just mention your name. Don't answer the question immediately. Just mention your name. I'm going to recognize you, honorable member. So I'll just be asking questions there and there. It doesn't matter whether your your response is correct or wrong. I just need a response from your side. And I've always been saying that regardless of your answer being correct or wrong, for as long as you respond, ladies and gentlemen, if you provide an incorrect answer, depending on how wrong it is going to help me to explain even better. So, good people, here comes a question. What is a Cartesian plane, or how do you notice a Cartesian plane?
Determination.
Determination, you are recognized. Where are you? Just mention your province, determination, and go for it.
I'm in Limpopo. Okay. We notice a Cartesian plane because of the y-axis and the x-axis.
Okay, so thanks very much for that response, determination. I think your voice was a little bit down, but ladies and gentlemen, what she said is that when we talk about a Cartesian plane, you notice a Cartesian plane by the x and y axis. That's how you notice your Cartesian plane. Just to add on to that, a Cartesian plane also has got the origin, and most importantly, it has quadrant number 1, quadrant number 2, quadrant number 3, and again quadrant number 4. That's how you notice your Cartesian plane. So just a quick explanation. Always when you are given a function, ladies and gentlemen, a function is drawn on a Cartesian plane. What is a Cartesian plane? A Cartesian plane is called the x and the y axis. This is the y, this is the x, this is the y axis. What do we mean by the origin? This is the origin of a Cartesian plane, where they can just write a 0 over there, or otherwise they can write it there, or otherwise they can write it there or there. Doesn't matter. But you just know that when you have O there, that O means 0 and is the origin. What is the origin? The origin is where the x-axis and the y-axis intersect. Ladies and gentlemen, we have quadrant number 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is quadrant number 1, this is quadrant number 2, this is quadrant number 3, this is quadrant number 4. So you just need to be aware that this is what we call a Cartesian plane. And most importantly, on a Cartesian plane, we draw a parabola, a straight line, a hyperbola, or an exponential function, ladies and gentlemen. So that means because you are dealing with a straight line, you know it's just a straight line. Because it's a parabola, you know you've got what we call an asymptote. Because you might be drawing a hyperbola, there are what we call asymptotes. So this one is what we call axis of symmetry for parabola. And again, for exponential, we also have a asymptote. So just make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that at all times when you're given functions, the first thing that you need to be looking at is your Cartesian plane. Ask yourself, where is your Cartesian plane? Once you've identified that, then you know you will be able to notice exactly what the question will be asking you to answer. So I always assume a Cartesian plane to be a plate, ladies and gentlemen, a plate where you put in your pap over there. What is that? What is this, ladies and gentlemen? That is, the drumstick. There you've got your drumstick, there you've got your gravy and everything. So why am I saying the first thing that you need to look at is your Cartesian plane? Is because, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot have this food without firstly having the plate. So that is why I'm saying, firstly, check out for your Cartesian plane. Then anything else, you can regard parabola as your drumstick, straight line as your gravy, hyperbola as your mountainous pub there. What else, ladies and gentlemen? What else can you have? I think you can also have cabbage there. You can take it as your exponential or whatever. Then, good people, you must know all the characteristics of pap, which could be straight line. You must know about the gradient, the C value, positive or negative gradient, and whatever. Good people, you must know everything with regards to your drumstick, which could be a hyperbola in this case. To say a hyperbola, if the A value is positive, you are going to have it in the first and third quadrant. If your A is negative, in that quadrant, and again it has the asymptotes, and we have P and Q. Good people, what else? A parabola. So everything that I'm explaining there in a form of this, ladies and gentlemen, it is explained in detail where I've explained step by step and as low as possible. So there I was just being quick, just so that you have an idea of what I'm talking about. So I've always been saying that you learn things by noticing how often they are being said, how often they are being explained. That's how you learn, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why I never get tired of repeating the same thing over and over again. So we have discussed all with regards to a Cartesian plane. So what I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that on this function, do not be scared or be confused. Just know that, okay, this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis, and that 0 means the origin. So let's further continue to unpack this sketch. Here comes a question, guys. How many functions are they drawn on that Cartesian plane, and what are the names of those those functions? As soon as you mention your name, just make sure that you mute your mic afterwards. I'll recognize you, honorable member. So that's the question, guys. How many functions are drawn on the Cartesian plane, and again, what are the names of those functions?
Determination.
Determination, go for it.
We have two functions, and one we have exponential. Secondly, we have a parabola.
100%. So, ladies and gentlemen, that means in today's lesson, we are looking at two types of functions. So, let's have a look. In terms of the functions, we are looking at exponential graph, and the other one she said is parabola. So obviously we know an equation for exponential is this one of f of x being equals to a x squared plus q, and this one for parabola, this is a parabola. Let me just update that part over there. So this one is exponential, being the one for g of x being equals to, so it's a half to the exponent x minus 4. And again, we have this one of f being what is it? They are saying it's a to the exponent x squared plus q. So let's see what else are we having there. Just want to make sure that all of you guys understand what's going on over there. So what other question can I ask? ladies and gentlemen. So, is there someone who wants to guess or to talk about that A value there? What can you say about that A value there? Or what can you say about that function of F? Mention your name, I'll recognize you.
Determination.
Determination, go for it.
I think that's
I can't hear you. Determination, I can't hear you.
K is representing our F of X, where we
I still can't hear determination. So determination, just in case if you are able to hear me, you can mute your mic. For now, let me allow another honorable member to give it a try, especially those of you who attended my lessons for the Monday and the Tuesday lesson. Is there someone who wants to give it a try?
Please repeat your question.
It's Grace. I'm not sure if it's Grace speaking, but it's fine. So let me take over, guys. Let me quickly take over. So remember, we said, let me just remove this and say, we said for a parabola, that A value, it tells more about the shape of the graph. If we have positive A value, we are going to have a smiling shape. If we have a negative A value, then the shape of a parabola is going to be a sad shape. That's what I wanted you guys to say. So, because the function of a parabola is already sketched over there, you can see it makes a sad shape, which means this A value, if the question says calculate A value, then it's going to be a negative value. If you get a positive value, you must know you've done a mistake somewhere. With regards to Q, we said Q, it represents the vertical shift. What does it mean by the vertical shift? It means this parabola, it was actually making a U-turn at the origin, but now you can see it's no longer making the U-turn at the origin but up there, which means it has shifted by so many units upwards. So because now it's just Q, we are not yet sure in terms of by how many units it has shifted upwards. But one thing for sure, guys, because we notice that we've got a point E which has got the coordinates, and that means the y coordinates there is 3 and the x coordinate there is 1. That means this point over there, it has to be above 3. So that means if they say calculate the Q value and you get a number which is less than 3, just know you made a mistake, because the turning point of that function is actually above 3. So the other thing that I want us to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is that asymptote over there. So this asymptote is for that exponential function, which is the graph of George, or they call it George. So that means every time when we talk about f, we are referring to that function. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. And now, most importantly, the coordinates of A, or the point A, is that point over there. We know very well that at that point, something is 0 there, and I think it is y which is 0 there. And again, for B, we also know that y is 0 at that point. Then for C, we know that at C, x is 0. We are just not sure of the C value. And then for D, what do we know, guys? We know at that point that x is 0, but we are not sure of the y value. So that means every time when the question talks about C being that point, you must consult with preference for answers. Why preference? Because C lies on that function for preference. Ladies and gentlemen, E is a point along that function for preference. So that means you can only use that coordinate or that point E on the formula for preference. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got B, which is that point over there. For now, we know why it's 0 there. Ladies and gentlemen, B lies along preference, which means when you go consult, talk to preference ancestors, ladies and gentlemen. Don't just go anywhere, but look for answers from preference. Good people, if they talk about D, ladies and gentlemen, D lies along that function which is for Bra George. So, which means if there's a question regarding D, consult with Bra George, ladies and gentlemen. This is the formula for Bra George. So, go and look for answers from Bra George. Let's see. When it comes to A, there's something very special about A. What is special about A? It's because A lies on Bra France and Bra George, which means if Bra George is not able to answer you, or he's ignoring your calls, or ladies and gentlemen, wow, demel. If Bra George out demel, you can go and consult with Bra France. I'm sure one of these two guys will possibly be able to assist you with the answers that you might be looking for. So now let's try to have a look at our very first question. But before we do that, is there someone who's got a question, or is there someone who'd like me to explain something of which they think I forgot to explain? Guys, did it make everyone?
Yes, sir.
Is there the last one to confirm? Remember, guys, in case if you want to comment, you can just unmute your mic, comment, then mute your mic. I'm not sure if it's just the two of us, guys, because I'm not able to say exactly who attended. My only eyes, my eyes are actually fixed over there. I'm not able to see who has attended the lesson. Guys, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Kevin, my friend.
Yes.
Kevin, my friend. Kevin, my friend. Why not speaking, bro? Let me see. Wait. Was it Kevin or someone else? But it's fine. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's now try to answer our first question. So I'm just going to remove all of this. So just make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you fully understand how to answer these questions, because on your exam or preparatory exams, you will need to clearly answer the question. So question 5.1 says, write down the following. So 5.1.1, remember, guys, it's very, very much important that you follow the numbering system used in the question paper. So 5.1.1 says, write down the coordinates of D. Very, very much importantly. So, guys, where is D? That is the first thing that you must do. You must ask yourself exactly where is D. Okay, there is D. And what did the question say? They say the coordinates. What are the coordinates? When we talk about the coordinates, we talk about the X and the Y. So this D is actually a point which has got these coordinates. So that means when you provide your answer, it has to be in a form of D into, we already know X is 0, then they just need the Y value over there, which is something that you might need to perform some calculation. So, ladies and gentlemen, is there anyone who can tell where can we consult for us to determine the coordinates of D? Who do we consult? Bra Franz or Bra George?
Bra George, sir.
Why Bra George?
Because in the information given above, they did say D is the y-intercept of G.
Who's speaking again?
Tumelo.
Tumelo, where are you in this world? In which province are you?
Gauteng.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, what Tumelo is saying over there, she says, a D, it actually lies along that function. That is the reason why we consult with Bra George. So, Tumelo, what do we know about D, and how can we then now determine the coordinates of D?
Since D is the y-intercept of G, you let X is equals to 0, sir.
100%. So, what she's simply saying is that let X to be equals to 0. The moment you hear yourself saying let either X or Y being equals to 0, it means you want to substitute it into the formula. Which formula are we substituting? The one for Bra George. So, let's consider the formula to be Bra George's parser. So that means this is the shop for Bra George. So let's see, is that to the exponent that minus 4. So which means, ladies and gentlemen, we have Y being equals to 1 over 2 to the exponent that minus 4. Something very interesting, guys. Can you see inside the brackets, we have half over there. And I've been saying, never ever be confused if that it's something like 2 to the exponent negative 1x minus 4. This is still a half. So that means another way of writing this formula, it's actually y is equals to 2 to the exponent negative 1x minus 4. Never ever get confused, which means that exponent, ladies and gentlemen, that exponent, if it's negative, it means your function is going to have that shape, 4 negative x over there. But if it's positive x, then you are going to have that type of a shape. Just be careful of that, ladies and gentlemen, especially when you plot. You need to be aware of such information. So who was it? Was it Lerato? Whoever was speaking said we have to consult with Bra George. So let's see. This is the shop for Bra George. What are we looking for in George's shop? Let's see. I think we are looking for Y because we said let's let X to be equals to 0. So that means where we see X, we are going to substitute 0. So that means we substitute 0 there in brackets, then we say minus 4. What is that? I know everything to the exponent 0, it's 1. Then it's minus 4. What is that? So this is negative 3. So that means the coordinates of D, it's actually 0 and negative 3. So that is how, ladies and gentlemen, you score yourself. How many marks was it allocated? Let me see. I think it was allocated 2 marks. So for you to provide the X value, they are going to give you a mark. For the Y value, they are going to give you a mark. That's how you score yourself 2 marks. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you happy with that calculation there? Does it make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100%. So that means that D there is -3. So at all times, ladies and gentlemen, just ask yourself if that value makes sense. Can someone try to explain how that value is making sense?
Say I think on g of x,
Mm-hmm.
that -4,
Mm-hmm.
it's a it's a is a y asymptote.
Yo, 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 yo. What Hanan? Who's speaking? Who's speaking?
It's Tumelo, say.
Okay, Tumelo. It's fine. Go for it. You are on the right track. So you're saying what happens to that -4?
I say that -4 is the
Mm-hmm.
y asymptote of g of x.
Is the y asymptote of g 100%. So this -4 is actually the asymptote of that exponential function. And again, what else do we know about that -4? So firstly, you say it's asymptote. What else do we know about that -4? Someone to dive in there. I know you do know very well, guys. Just unmute your mic and mention what you know about that -4.
Say I think is the range of g of x.
Someone said, again, is the range of g of x. Just to add on to that, and thanks very much for that, guys. Make notes of that to say, for an exponential, this 4 or that g, it tells us more about asymptote, it tells us more about the range, and again, we know is the vertical shift. So just make sure that from time to time you refer to your notes. So I know from your notes you have asymptote and again vertical shift. So just add the range, because there might be a question which says what is the range of G. You will never know, guys. You must be ready for those type of questions, but you must first understand everything with regards to that. So for you to easily understand these things, guys, you must think of this as a potato, for example. Then you'll say this, it's a potato. What do you know about a potato? You know a potato, it's a vegetable first and first. You know a potato, you can cook it as a side dish, you can make some snack, you can do whatever. And again, a potato,
Sir.
it has a starch and whatever. So there's someone who wants to ask a question. Is it a question? Who is it? Is it Mabuntle? Sakina. Let me see. Okay, so all of you guys said you are happy with all of that. So let me see. Okay, we got it right. So question 5.1.2. What does that question say? Let's see. So the question says the range of. Can you see, guys? There is that question. what is the range of the graph of G? The first thing, guys, when they talk about the range, you must give a Y value. When they talk about the domain, you give the X value. Very, very much important, ladies. So just make sure that you understand the question. So we said with regards to G, this asymptote, it tells us more about the range. So that means possibly your answer might be based on that a -4. But in terms of the range, here comes the question, guys. That G, is it in terms of the range, is it starting from, or is it starting on -4, or is it above -4?
Above -4.
Why are you saying it's above -4?
Say because it never touches the asymptotes.
100%. So, ladies and gentlemen, for example, if this is your asymptote and you have a function which could be f and it touches that asymptote, this is completely wrong, guys. Your hyperbola or your function, it never touches or crosses your asymptote. So that is the reason why we say this function of Brageorge, it's actually above the asymptote and not starting from the asymptote. So that is the reason why when we give the range, we say, remember, I said when we talk about the range, we give the Y value. We know this is -4. We know the asymptote tells us more about the range. So that is why we are going to say, is it greater than or is it less than?
Y is greater than -4.
Y is greater than -4. Whoever made a comment, just make sure to mute your mic. So that was 100%. So that means Y is greater than -4. Why greater than is because it's actually above the asymptote, which means let's see, you cannot say greater than or say it's equals to, because the moment you say it's equals to, it's more like you now say it is touching that asymptote. So guys, does it now make sense in terms of what do we mean when we talk about the range? Are you all happy with that mark of 1 mark? Are you happy there, guys?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, 100%. So now let's move to the next part of this question, which is question 5.2. And here they instruct to say, calculate the following. So that means you will now be focusing on 5.2.1. And it says, calculate the coordinates of A. What an interesting question, guys. The coordinates of A. So let's see. Where is A? There is A. So now that they want the coordinates of A, what do we know about the coordinates of A? We just know, ladies and gentlemen, that at the coordinates of A, the Y value is 0, but we don't know the X value, which means we need to consult either with Bra George's pharmacy or Bra Francis pharmacy to give us the correct medication to treat that disease at that point, which is my knee. So let's see, guys. Who can we consult?
G, sir.
Why Bra George?
Because for F there are no numbers, and for G we have numbers.
100%. So, ladies and gentlemen, what a honorable member they is saying is that we have an option to consult with Bra Franz or Bra George, but we cannot consult with Bra Franz because Bra Franz, it seems like he's out of stock, because you can see it doesn't have that A value there, it doesn't have a G value there, but it seems like George, he has got enough stock in his shop. We know that value there, we know that value there, we already know that based on that point of A being there, so we can calculate the X value at that point A. So let's see, how do we calculate that? So good people, you need to be interpret these things in a sense that they make sense. But before we even go far, in terms of the A value, what X value are we expecting over there? What type of X value are we expecting over there?
The
Negative. Negative X value.
100%. We are expecting a negative X value. If we get a positive X value, it means somewhere, somehow, we made a mistake. So let's see. This is the function for Bra George. So let's see. We said it's actually 1 over 2 to the exponent x minus 4. So we know that at A, we don't know that, but we know that. So we can just say let y be equals to 0. So that means we substitute 0 there, which means this is 0 being equals to. Remember, guys, this one, it's actually half. So let's write it as 2 to the exponent negative 1. And the reason to that is because we want to write it in an exponential form such that we've got the base, so that we can apply exponential laws to solve that problem. Remember, guys, at all times, this is the gold that we are trying to get to. So we need to remove the dust, we need to break down some stones, we need to work out the water there before we can get to our gold or our diamond. So we need to follow mathematical procedure to do that. So that means we transpose this to the other side. It changes a sign. Therefore, we've got 4 being equals to what is it? Let's say 2 to the exponent negative 1x. So remember, guys, we need to remove those brackets. So the exponents, they multiply with each other. So that one is still 4, then it's 2 to the exponent negative invisible 1x. Very, very much important. So now we can see the base is 2. Can we try to also make the base 2 there and have an exponent such that is going to give us 4? I think if you try 1, it gives you 1, but if you get 2, it takes you back to 4. So here you also write the same. Why did you have to force that base to be 2? It's because you wanted it to be the same as that, and to say when the bases are the same, they fall away, you can equate the exponents, which means 2 is equals to negative invisible 1x. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. What you are looking for it's actually the x value. So that means you need to divide by invisible -1. Whatever you do on the left, you do on the right. Whatever you do on the right, you do on the left. Why did you have to divide by it? So that it can cancel, then you just remain with x, which is equals to -2. So indeed, we got a negative value. What does it mean, ladies and gentlemen? It therefore means the coordinates of A, it's actually -2 and 0. Don't leave your answer there, because this is the x value and it's not the coordinates of A. So if the question said the coordinates of A, write it as A being -2 and 0. Guys, that is how you score yourself 2 marks. And I'm going to give you a mark for equating that step over there. This is actually allocated 2 marks. So I'm doing this so that you guys are able to notice exactly where you score your marks, so that when we are at that marking center, you don't lose some marks. So some of you guys are very intelligent. You do stand the chance of getting 100% in your mathematics, but because you take some steps for granted, you don't know which steps are allocated marks. So if you miss that step and you just take it from there because you are that much intelligent, you are going to lose some marks. So ladies and gentlemen, for your final answer, I'm going to give you a mark over there. But this is your final answer. This is not your final answer. Your final answer is the coordinates of A. Good people, are you happy with that question and that calculation over there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
100%. I'm just going to remove all of that quickly. So these things, guys, they are not that much difficult. They are not that much difficult. So don't ever stress that much when you're dealing with this type of questions. I think towards the end of this lesson, I'm going to do something very quick just to give you an idea of how I used to work out this type of problems. So let's see. Let's now move to 5.2.2. So guys, remind me to explain to you what I've just said in terms of showing you guys the tricks that I was using when I was in high school. Let me see. My Shishibokang, I muted your mic because when you joined the lesson, you left it unmuted. So we were getting disturbed by the background noise. So just make sure next time that when you enter the lesson, you control your mic, because if you don't and I mute it from my side, you won't be able to communicate until the end of the lesson. Okay, so let's see. Question 5.2.2 says values of A and Q. Where are the values of A and Q, guys? What are they talking about there?
F of x.
So they are talking about preference, ne? Okay, so let's see Mafranco there. So Mafranco is f of x, who's equals to a to the exponent that plus q. So based on Mafranco, ladies and gentlemen, where is Mafranco? There is Mafranco. Okay, based on this, what are our expectations with regards to the A value and the Q value?
Sir, I think we are expecting our A to be negative.
Mm-hmm. Go for it, Madam Speaker. Just talk about A and Q, and again give your reasons for whatever that you are saying.
I think we are expecting our A to be negative because we have a set phase.
What about Q?
I don't know. I think Q is our turning point.
Who's speaking?
Determination.
Okay, so determination with regards to Q. Q, it tells us more about the vertical shift. So this function, it was actually making a U-turn at that point there. But because of this Q, it shifted. So do you think it shifted upwards or downwards?
I think upwards.
So if it shifted upward, what value are we expecting for Q?
A positive value.
Which is more than what number?
More than 3 or 4.
Why 4?
Because our 3 is on the middle where we. Oh, shit. I don't know, sir. Maybe I think that I've said 4 because our 3 is in the middle.
Okay, so it's fine. So for now, Madam Speaker, you can only comment about 3. So let's say we are not sure about 4 because remember, this is just a hand-drawn diagram. It's not really drawn to scale. So that's what they mean when they say something is not drawn to scale. They're simply saying, do not assume because maybe 3 seem to be in the middle, then that means this could be maybe 5 or 3.5, whatever. Don't make assumptions, but if you want to make a comment, you can only comment on what you are sure of. So I heard you are sure of 3 because that point is actually above that point 3. So that's all that we can say, ladies and gentlemen. We're expecting a negative A value because of the said shape, and we're expecting a positive a Q value there. So remember, guys, normally when you need this type of information, you must be having two known points. Are there 2 points that we know, ladies and gentlemen, which lies along Mafranco? And what are those points, if we know them?
Yeah. It's A and E.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. What is A there? Is it that -2? I think that A was -2, guys. You are
Yes, sir.
right. You are right. So this is -2. Okay. So let's see. So that means, ladies and gentlemen, we can say at A, where we have -2 and 0, and again at E, we have 1 and 3. So let's substitute there that point A into the formula and see what we are having. So obviously this is Y, this is 0, this is, this is X, so this is X, and this is Y. So let's see. When we substitute the A value, it means we have 0 being equals to A and the X value being -2. Then we square it and then we have plus Q. So let's just quickly simplify all of that. So that means we have 0 being equals to, I think this is 4, guys. So that means we actually have 4A plus what? Plus Q. So we can actually transpose that so that we don't have 0, which means it's more like q is equals to, when you move it, it changes the sign, then it's negative 4a. Maybe we can consider this, ladies and gentlemen, to be our equation number 1, because we have 2 points to substitute. Let's substitute again that point. What is y, guys? I think y there is 3. Yes. So we have 3 being equals to a. What is x? X is 1, guys, squared, plus q over there.
Y is negative 4a.
Did I make a mistake somewhere, guys? Who's speaking and what are you saying, Madam Speaker?
Termination where I think it says q is equal to negative 4a. Y is negative 4a.
It's unfortunate I'm not able to hear Madam Speaker there. Can you maybe try to put your mic closer to your mouth? I'm really not able to hear you.
Q, look there. Q is equals to negative 4a.
Q is equals to negative 4a. What did I write there? Am I missing something? Who's speaking? Let me quickly. So I went to quickly get my power bank. But Madam Speaker, what am I supposed to correct over there? I'm just not sure if there's a mistake that I made of which I couldn't notice.
I just don't understand why are we saying negative 4a.
Oh, you want me to explain why is Q negative 4 over A? I suppose that's a yes. It's unfortunate. She speaks. One thing for sure, she is speaking louder, but I noticed there's something maybe which is a problem that she's facing. Okay, let's do this. I'll just remove all of that. So remember, we just want to make Q the subject of the formula. So that means you move this thing to the other side, because we just want to have a positive Q. So it changes the sign when you move it to the other side. So it's more like you have a, what is it? Negative 4a is equals to Q. So it is still the same as a Q being equals to negative that. So it's more like if you are let's say Desmond, who is equals to his name being Seko. So that means Seko is equals to Desmond. So that is what went down over there. Does it make sense now?
Okay, thank you, sir. I understand.
Okay, 100%. So now, let's see, we said Q is equals to negative 4a. And this was equation number 1. So now we are substituting that to say y is 3 being equals to a into 1 squared plus q. So remember, guys, this type of questions that she's asking, make sure to ask those if you don't understand. Don't just leave it go by. Make sure you ask that question if you do not understand how did I make something. Because I've noticed that most of you guys, you just leave something which is simple, something which you don't understand, you just leave it. I'm not really sure in terms of why. Maybe you assume it's a bit complicated to explain, or otherwise it's something which is just difficult to you. Nothing is difficult there, guys, and everything is explainable. So just make sure that if there's something which you do not understand, you can then immediately ask. I know some of you guys who are doing the weekend one-on-one lessons, you just paid for those lessons so that because you are comfortable with one-on-one. But otherwise, in case if you want to ask, ladies and gentlemen, just use your home language to ask, because you'll be asking for yourself. Okay, so let's see. 1 squared So we have 3 being equals to 1 squared, I think is 1. So it's just 1a, then plus q. So what else can we do, guys? I think we can just maybe, let's move that to the other side to make q again the subject of the formula. So can you see, we are going to have 3 minus a being equals to q, which can still be written as q is equals to 3 minus a. So it's more like we have q being equals to 3 minus a. Then this is equation number 2. The reason why I had to write it like that is so that it matches with that one. So that means, guys, this is a very strategic way of examiner to try and check if you are able to solve equations simultaneously. But they did not give it to you as a simultaneous equation because they wanted you to think or apply your mind with this type of problems. So just make sure that at all times, ladies and gentlemen, when you are given a problem, you are able to notice how to approach that particular problem. And you can only be able to notice how to approach different problems when you attend this type of lesson. So let's see. Now, obviously, when we solve simultaneous equations, because we have q, we can just equate this and that, which means negative 4a can be equated to 3 minus a. Then we just solve for a, guys. Let's see. If we take it to the other side, we have negative 4a plus a being equals to 3. So obviously, negative 4 plus 1 is actually negative 3, a being equals to 3. So can you see, a is actually divided by that, then we have negative 1. So can you see, a value is negative 1. So you can just use that a value to substitute in any of these equations. You can substitute it there, you can substitute it there. So my gents, substitute it there, ladies, substitute there, then let me know what is the q value. Guys, are you still there, or is it the message which is still on the way?
Four.
Q is
Four, sir.
Okay, 100%. So we are getting 4. Do these answers make sense? Can we rely on these answers to be correct?
No.
Why no? Why no? Why no? If we can rely on them to be the correct answers, you can also give your reason for that.
I think it's no because we were expecting our A to be negative.
Someone is speaking, but I'm not able to hear. I assume is the same person.
Sir, I'm saying we were expecting A to be negative. Yeah, it's correct, sir.
100%. So it is because we were expecting our A to be a negative value because
correct. We have a negative 1. It's correct. I didn't see that.
100%. We expect a negative A value because of that shape. And again, we expected a positive Q value, which is more than 3. Doesn't matter whether it's 5, it's 7, it's 10, whatever, but we just know it has to be more than 3. So, good people, I'm going to give you a mark for correct substitution there. I'm going to give you another mark for the second correct substitution over there. I'm going to give you a mark for the A value and again for the Q value. That's how you score yourself 4 marks. So, guys, are you happy there with that calculation? Is everyone happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100%. So, I'll just remove all of these and check what could possibly be the next question. But if we have all that information, let's update there, guys. We now have the information about Mafranco there. So we have f of x being equals to negative invisible 1x squared plus 4. Then we write it like that because now we know the formula there. So let's see. Now we might be looking at question, is it 5.3? Yes. So we are now on 5.3. So what does the question say over there? 5.3 says calculate or no. They are not saying calculate, but they use the word determine. So let's see, determine the following. So they say determine the length of CD. Where is C? Where is D? And this question is allocated 2 marks. Where is C, guys? I can't see C. Is it there? Where is C? Where is C, guys?
It's in boys.
For
Oh, yes. So what is that value for C there?
Q4.
Oh, yes. I remember now. We calculated it to be 4. What is the B value there?
Positive 2. I think.
B value. Did we calculate B value though? If we didn't, just let me know. But if we did we calculate the B value?
No, sir.
we didn't.
No, sir.
Okay, it's fine. But there's a reason why Madam Speaker said it's positive 2. I'll just explain to you for your information. The reason to that is because always, when you have a parabola, let's say this is a Cartesian plane, Shreyas. When you have a parabola making the turning point along the y-axis there, it means this point is the same as that point. Why? Because the asymptote, the axis of symmetry is within, it's inside that. What is for those of you who attend my lessons, or otherwise those of you who has been attending my lessons ever since, I wouldn't pose this question to those who are attending my lesson for the first time today, because they wouldn't know that special name that I give to that axis of guys. What did I say? It's axis of symmetry. Do you still remember?
The braid, sir.
Someone is saying the braid. Anyone to say something, just anything that you can remember about that axis of symmetry?
Malamulela.
100%. So this thing, ladies and gentlemen, I call it let's see, mala mulela. I'm not really sure of what that is in Zulu, but in short, ladies and gentlemen, that one who said a bread. So this is a bread, ladies and gentlemen. If you wanted to cut it into two equal halves, you cut it using malamulela. What is malamulela in English? Is axis of symmetry. So that means everything on this side is equal to everything on that side, which means this point, which is that point, if it was calculated to be -2, what does it mean there, ladies and gentlemen? Can someone conclude that by telling us what is that over there?
+2.
100%. So
Positive.
I'm happy you mentioned the sign to say it's +2. Don't just say it's 2, because we are mathematics learners. So this is +2. It's only if the turning point is not along the x-axis, maybe the turning point is somewhere there, then it means the function has been shifted sideways. And I want you guys to notice something. Let me quickly teach you this thing, guys. It's an interesting thing. Remember, we said these functions, we have it as a baby, then from there as what? As a teenager. And again as an adult. So just make sure to catch up on my Monday's lessons, guys. I explain this in detail. I say when we talk about a parabola, this is where it started, guys. It started as just y being equals to x squared. So this is the formula as a baby. Then after some time, it grew to become a teenager. But let's have a look at it at that stage as a baby. This is a Cartesian plane. So that means as a baby, guys, a parabola, it can either make that type of a shape, making a U-turn or turning point at the origin. And again, it can be something like that, ladies and gentlemen. So how do you know it's like that? How do you know it's like that? That's if the a value there is positive. So can you see, for this one, it means it's going to be y, it's equals to positive x squared. Then for this one, it's going to be negative 1x squared. So negative a, sad shape, positive a smiling shape. So now, ladies and gentlemen, this parabola, we upgrade it to a teenage stage. Then it becomes, remember, you can either have positive or negative a x squared there. Then we can say plus bc. So it seems as if this BC, ladies and gentlemen, it actually influences the horizontal shift, which means whatever B value that you have over there, you might have your function being shifted maybe towards the right, but along that, still having the turning point along that line. You might find that maybe if a either is positive or negative or whatever, you can have your function shifting sideways, and it makes a U-turn there. Similarly for that, it can maybe shift and you have something like that or something like that. So can you see this function, it is just shifting sideways because of that. So that means this could be y is equals to negative a value x squared. Then obviously it's either is plus or minus bx. You can explore whether a function shifts to the left or to the right by solving or plotting a function with a positive bx value and plot again with a negative bx value to see if it's positive whether it shifts to the left, and if it's negative whether it shifts to the right. Then let's see, guys. So that's how you do an investigation. In case if they give an investigation for mathematics to investigate a parabola, you investigate the a value. If indeed, if it's positive, it's going to be smiling. If it's negative, sad. And again, if maybe you have a bigger a value, maybe you find that this function, it becomes wider. It's more like it opens its mouth. Obviously, for example, if maybe they give you a smaller nyana ligunya there, you can just open your mouth with a smaller radius. But if they give you that ligunya from Moria, guys, you know that ligunya from Moria, I think size of a plasma, 32-inch, ladies and gentlemen, you need to open your mouth a bit wider. So that's how you conduct an investigation, guys. Let's see. What else? When it comes to B, you check if B is positive there, it shifts to the left or to the right. And maybe you might find that if maybe that B is bigger, then it shifts way far away from the origin. If it's smaller, it shifts but smaller nyana away from the origin. So that's what you investigate. I'm just giving you some points that you can investigate on. And again, ladies and gentlemen, now this formula, obviously it grows to become an adult. We therefore have y being equals to a x squared. Obviously it's plus or minus a, it's plus or minus bx, and I've explained y plus or minus, y plus or minus. Then there we have plus or minus c. So let's see, what about that c now? So that c, as I've said, what is it, the turning point. And again, C, not the turning point, but the y-intercept, or where that function cuts the y-axis. And again, about that C, we say the vertical shift. The vertical shift means this function can shift upwards. So if it shifts upwards, can you see it has that b value? So depending on whether it's plus or minus, if it shifts upward, you might find that for a smiling shape, you could possibly maybe, let's say, have something similar to that. Can you see where it makes the turning point? And can you see where it cuts the y-axis? So that means the c value there, in this case, it's actually, let's say, positive. The c value is positive, but then for some reason it's making a turning point there. So what else, ladies and gentlemen? If it's a sad shape, then it can still make a U-turn in that quadrant. So can you see it makes a U-turn on this side? Why on this side? It's possibly because it has been shifted in this direction. Again, can you see the y-intercept is up there because of that vertical shift? So that is how, ladies and gentlemen, you investigate this type of functions, and they must make perfect sense to you so that even when you answer questions, you know what to expect as part of your answer. The same was explained, guys, for a straight line, a hyperbola, and an exponential. So just in case if you feel like what I've just explained quickly there, it almost made sense, just know that on the lesson that I made on Monday and Tuesday, I covered all of that information. So back to the drawing board, guys. What is the length of CD? Is there someone who wants to give it a try and give reasons for your answer?
I think for D, because it's a straight line, we will use the distance formula. CD is equal to square. Sir?
Okay, no, it's fine. So let me give so distance of CD is equals to square root of what? So let's see. C is that and that. And again, what about D? D is 0 and negative 3. So she's saying we substitute into the distance formula. What is x2? X2 is 0 minus 0 squared. then plus what is y2? Y2, it's -3 minus 4 squared. Then when you punch all of this, what are you getting?
It's 7 units.
So someone is getting 7 units. I'm very much happy to hear you saying units, because you know that when we calculate the distance, we talk about the units if it is not given. So I'm going to give you another method, ladies and gentlemen, which worth 2 marks. So every time when your straight line lies along the axis, whether y-axis or x-axis, you don't need to use the distance formula. I'm going to help you to answer this one. What is the distance from the origin to that point, which is C?
Oh,
What is it, Molebogeng?
4.
It's 4. So that
4
means
units.
it's 4 units. Then from the origin to D, what is the distance there?
-3.
Who said -3?
Say it's 7.
No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Can you see, guys? Molebogeng, she's answering her own question. And for that reason, I'm going to give her a very big cross, a very big
Hey,
knot.
adding 4 with 3
No, no, no,
from
no,
C
no.
down.
No, 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 no. Guys, what was my question?
Say,
Mm-hmm.
the question was the distance from origin to D.
What is it?
Then it's +3, say, because, yeah.
100%. Who's speaking? Someone said negative. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's +3 units. And the reason to that is because distance is never negative. Distance is always positive. Then, Molebogeng, you can now say the distance from C to D is actually that plus that, being 7 units. So, that is how you score yourself 2 marks. Here comes a question, guys. What is the distance of AB? How do we calculate it?
2 plus 2.
100%. So if a question said the distance of AB from the origin to there is 2 units. From the origin to B is 2 units. Very, very much important, ladies. So that is how you determine the length of AB. Only if the length, maybe they say AE, that's when you can use that formula, because these points are at a line which is at an angle. But for a line along x-axis or y-axis, you just need to know from the origin to that point what is the distance or what is the length. Guys, are you happy with that?
Yes, sir.
Molebogeng, they
Yes,
will
sir.
also give you 2 marks for that, but you might find that it's a bit lengthy, or it's what we call a long drive. But even if you do it that way, you will still get some marks. So at least we now have two possible ways to answer that question. So now let's have a look at the next question, which is what is it? This one is 5.2.4. What are they saying there? They say equation of straight line through AD. Equation of straight line through AD. Guys, every time when we need to determine an equation of a particular functions, just remember that we need 2 points. But do we have those 2 points?
Say A
Yes.
and D.
100% we have A and D. So first thing, you must write the coordinates of D to say is that. And again, you must write the coordinates of D being 0 and -3. Then next thing you write an equation of a straight line just to check what is it that you need. Can you see? You need the gradient, but you know the gradient formula is equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Quickly calculate the gradient and tell me what is the answer there for the gradient. And most importantly, guys, are we expecting a positive or a negative gradient? Which gradient are we expecting there, ladies and gentlemen?
Negative gradient.
Okay, so what is the gradient?
Negative 3 over 2.
What is it? -3 over what? 2?
2.
Okay, so my gents, are you also getting the same answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100%. So now that we have got the gradient, let's substitute it there to say this is -2 over 3x plus c. Use any point, guys. So you can either use that point or that point, but I like using a point which is easy to use. So I'm going to use the one where x is 0 because I'm going to substitute it there and multiply it with that, then it's just 0. So I'll therefore use point D because it's going to be a shortcut. So that means I have -3 over there, then I have -3 over 2 into 0 plus c. Then this cancels because it's been multiplied by 0. Then c is actually equals to -3. Therefore, it means we have y being equals to -3 over 2x minus 3. So this is the equation of AD. So this is how, ladies and gentlemen, you score yourself how many marks? I think this one is allocated what is it, 3 marks. So where are you getting your marks, guys? For you to correctly calculate the gradient, that's where we give you a mark. For correct substitution, I'm going to give you a mark. For correct formula, I'm also going to give you a mark. So guys, are you all happy there?
Say
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
sir.
Okay, 100%.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just going to remove all of this. Then from there, we move to the next question. I think now we are getting closer to the end of the lesson. So we are now on question 5.4, which is something else there. And 5.4 says, for which values of x is, it says, for which values of x is 5.4.1 says f of x is greater than 0. So here's the trick, guys. They are actually asking about the x value. So when you comment, you must give the x values. don't give anything else other than the x values, because the question says for which values of x, and then they say is this graph for Bra George, it's actually greater than 0. So let's look at Bra George, guys. This is how you approach this. And you say, this is Bra George. So they are asking, along that x-axis, at which x values do we have this function being above 0? Because the origin there is 0. So normally with this type of questions, this is where you must focus, because these are the x values that you know about. So can you see, guys, can you guys see that between these 2 points, that's where we actually have that being above the origin? So it's above a 0. I'm not sure if you guys are able to notice that, but this part is actually below. It's actually below 0. So the question says, for which x values are we having f of x being greater than 0? So that actually means you can answer this question in 2 possible ways. What is the first possible way to answer this question, guys? Let me just test if you understand what I've explained there.
I think it's -2 less than or equal to x, and b ish.
I'm telling you, Lebohari, if you can do that technique to say, I'm sure you're going to get it. You remember that lady from yesterday's lesson who gave us that trick? You are almost there. You are getting there. Wacha. Wacha, Lebohang. Is there someone who wants to dive in there?
So can you please repeat the question?
So the question says, let's see. It says, for which values of x is f of x greater than 0? So it's more like they're saying, for that function of bra f, at which x values do we have this function for bra f being above or being greater than 0?
Okay, a less than or equal to x, and b less than or equal to x.
So you said a less than or equals to x, and you say b less than or equals to x. Is this what you said, Madam Speaker?
Yes.
Okay, so let me answer this question, guys. Remember, they said for which values of x. So a is not a value, x is not a value. This is an inequality sign. B is not a value, that is not a value, this is not a value. So that means you haven't attended the cream of the question. So guys, in answering this question, it's easy. You know it, but you just don't know how to answer the question. First thing first, you say it's between -2 and 2. You can see that between that point and that point, this is where that graph is actually above 0. Then from this point in that direction, and from this point in that direction, that's where this function is actually below that point over there. So how do you write between -2 and 2? You just say -2 less than x less than 2. This is how you write between -2 and 2. So if you want to say a Desmond is between let's say a Mercedes-Benz and Kia. So you can say a Kia less than Desmond less than a BMW, for example. So the moment you see this thing, it actually means D is between Kia and B. So there's something that I also want you guys to learn. You can also say X is the element of, you do this type of brackets, and then you say it's the element of a, what is it, -2 and 2. So this does not mean this is X or this is Y. No, because you said X is the element of, then both of these are X values. So in short, it means between -2 and 2. And something very much important, guys, you cannot say less than or greater than, because on the question they used that inequality sign of greater than. So if on the question they did not say greater than or is equals to, don't use greater than or is equals to as part of your answer. Only use it if on the question they've also included it there. So for those of you who write an answer in this format, be careful of something. If maybe on the question it was, just as an example, if it was greater than or is equals to, you say X is the element of, you don't do this type of brackets. If it's greater than or is equals to, you open this type of brackets with the corners. Then you can say -2 and 2. But if it's just greater than, then you just do this type, the curving, what is it, the curving brackets. But if it's greater than, or maybe if it's less than or is equals to, you use this one with the corners. Let's see, if it's less than there, you use this type. That's if you say X is the element of. That's if you say X is the element of. But if you use this one of between, then you just represent it like that as -2 less than X less than that. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you happy with all that I've explained over there, where you score yourself 2 marks?
So
Yes,
this
sir.
that f of x is greater than 0. So why re answer re -2 is less than x and less than 2.
Okay, a very good question, which is going to help me to explain even further. So let me just explain using that drawing over there. So I hope you guys are able to see up to the top there. So let's see. Do you agree that at where this function of f is above or is greater than 0? First thing first, do you agree that is between these 2 points? This is my first question. Do you agree on that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
that means that is where x is actually greater than -2. Do you agree that for, how do I explain this? Let me say, remember, on this side we have maybe abo -4, abo 3, then we have -2, maybe let's say we have -1 there. So do you agree that when you want to say from that point in that direction, or from that point as you increase the x values, you are going to say where x is greater than -2, it's from there in that direction. Does it make sense, that part?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if it does, then this is the first part of your answer. You can also score a mark for that. That's another way of writing it. But remember, it's not really at all the x values in that direction. It's at all the values, but up to that one there, because if you say for all the values greater than -2, it includes all these values in between, and again, even those values after. And you can see at those values after, it's from that point going downwards. That is where that function, the y is actually below what is it? It's actually below that origin over there. So that is why, Madam Speaker, we still have to comment to say, again, that is where the x values are actually less than 2. Why less than? Because it's from there in that direction. So that means you are going to say at where x is actually less than 2. So this second part, guys, I'm not sure if you understand it. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if it does, then can you guys see that we are basically saying that's where the x values are between 2 points. Where are those 2 points? It's between this point and that point. And always, 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 when you write a in a notation, when you write mathematically to say something is between 2 points, you put x in between. So it's more like you are saying at where the x values are actually between -2 and 2. That is why on this side you write -2, and again there you write 2. So because on the equation they did not say a greater than or equals to or less than or equal to, they just used a less than. So you also put less than there. So let's try to make sense out of this. If you hide this part, can you see you have -2 being less than x? Which one is it? Is that one? So if -2, Madam Speaker, if -2 is smaller than x, that means x is actually greater than that -2. Then let's now try to explain on this part. Can you see? X is actually less than 2, which is that part. So we have satisfied both of this, but to mathematically represent it, you write it like this. That's if, ladies and gentlemen, that's if you are talking about the values in between. But if you are talking about the values which are not in between, you will never represent it like that. You will write it as separate answers. For example, if they said for which values of x, whatever, greater than 0, as an example, maybe you want to say from still, because they're asking about the x values, you're still going to refer to those two x values. But in this case, you will say that's where x, then in that direction. So you are going to say maybe x, let's say maybe what is it, less than -2. So what this means, guys, you can even see with the arrow there, it simply says from there in that direction. This is that arrow to say from there in that direction. So again, for this one, can you see you're going to say from that point in that direction? That is why you say x greater than 2. So that's if you want to comment about this, to say here that's where we have the y values what is it? I think here we are having the y values being less than 0. Let me check what they're on the yes. That's if they said for which x values is f of x less than 0. So when the question says f of x less than 0, it's more like they are saying for this function of f, which x values are we having y being less than 0? Because f of x we know is y. So it's more like they are saying for which x values are you having y values on the negative side. Yeah, I think now I'm explaining it nicely. So it's more like they're saying, where are we having negative y values? If it was greater than there, of which in this case, it's more like they're saying, along this graph, where are we having positive y values? So we are having positive y values between these 2 points, but in between, because in between, that's where this graph it's above. But from that point going downwards, you can see it's going downwards but away from that point. From there it's going downwards but away from that point. So that is why if it's away from that point, you use that arrow. If it's away in that direction, you use this arrow. So now that in this case we are dealing with the values in between, that is why you use that arrow to say from -2 in that direction, and again from 2 but in that direction. So because now you are dealing with 2x values in between, then you mathematically write it like that. Guys, is there someone who wants to slap some hands for me there if it made sense? If it didn't, your question, ladies and gentlemen, so that I can further explain.
Thank you, sir. I want to clap hands for you.
Don't physically clap them, ladies and gentlemen. Your elders are sleeping there. Otherwise, they will wake up and get that broomstick and marinate you. So just be careful of that, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope that made sense to everyone. Guys, as a last indication, are you all happy there? Because this is how you score yourself 2 marks. Are you guys happy there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the last question, guys, I think I'll leave.
Sir,
Yeah, boo.
I have a question. Can we use, when we are calculating distance from A to the origin, are we using x right minus x left?
Remember, when we deal with distances, we don't talk about the sign. So distance is always positive, which means from the origin, when you calculate the distance from the origin to A, it is just positive value. It doesn't matter whether A is -10, whether A is -million, whether A is -billion, but it's always a positive. Remember, in physical sciences, distance is the one which is always positive. So it's scalar quantity. So just remember that always when we calculate the distance, we forget completely about the signs. Madam Speaker, did I answer you nicely there?
No, sir, you're not answering the question. What I'm asking is, are we using x right or minus x plus minus x left? Yes or no?
No. I'm not yet answering your question when I say no. It's because I am now being confused, ladies and gentlemen. Is there someone who can try to also ask differently that same question? Because I still think like I've answered that question. Unless if there's something I'm missing, guys. A different person to ask that question differently. just to check if I'm understanding them or I'm actually missing the question there.
Tavile, can you please repeat the question?
No. Tabile must not repeat the question. I want someone differently to try and ask that same question but different. I just want to check if maybe I'm the one who did not understand. So if a different person asks, maybe I can understand better. Is there someone else who got that question?
So I think when she says she use x, go right, x to left, I think she's using the distance formula where you say x2 minus x1 because we have 2 points, which is A and 0 at the origin.
Okay, it's fine. So let me go back to whoever who asked that question. So are you asking about who is it? Is it Tobile? Tobile, was it you who asked this question? Are you asking about when you use the distance formula?
So yes, I want to know the distance formula. What is the formula of A to the origin?
Okay.
What is
what is what?
The formula.
Okay, so I'll just give a general response on that one because I notice the answer to that question is in the formula sheet, guys. If she's asking what is the distance formula, let's say A to the origin. This is the distance formula. x2 minus x1 close squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Did I answer you there?
Yes.
Okay, 100%. So, you should have said, what is the distance formula? Then I would have given you that one. But anyway, it's fine. So, in addition to what I've said, remember, you don't necessarily need to calculate the distance from A to 0. Why? Because you already know A is -2. So that means from the origin to there, it's actually 2 units. And again, from there to there, it's actually, 2 units again. So that means you have 2 units plus 2 units being 4. So remember, if you use the distance formula, that's when you substitute that negative sign there. Don't substitute into the formula as positive. But when you are speaking it, just like I explained, Molebogen, to say from there to there, it's actually 3 units. From there to there is 3 units again. Can you see? I'm not using the distance formula. I'm using my understanding to calculate that length. So if you use the distance formula to calculate that length, on the distance formula you substitute as -3 and not as 3. I hope that makes sense, guys. So let's see. The last question says, remember, it is still for which values of x. Here, the last one says 5.2 f is decreasing. Maybe let me quickly explain to you this one. So that means, guys, that means when you have a function drawn on a Cartesian plane, so when we talk about a hyperbola, it does, let's say it does a shape similar to that one. It makes a U-turn over there, right there. So remember, within this, you have that, what is it, malamulela, ladies and gentlemen. You have malamulela. So this is half, this is half. So this is the turning point. So you have this part and again that part. So it's more like between this part and that part, there's another one which is increasing. There's another one which is decreasing. So that's something that you need to investigate to say between this side and that side, which one is increasing, and again, which one is decreasing. So in this case, they're asking for the x value where that function of f is actually decreasing. So remember, guys, you need to see x is whatever, and you give the x value there. I'm not sure if there's someone who wants to give it a try before we conclude it to be your homework. Guys, remember, if you've got no idea, just mention so that we don't wait for Jesus to come back, guys.
I have no idea, sir.
No, sir, I don't have any idea.
So guys, we almost waited for Jesus to come back, most. You guys are not saying. Near. Remember, guys, always, it helps in case if you've got no idea, then you just mention to say no idea, because I'll be waiting thinking maybe the message is still on the way. So if you've got no idea, you can just mention no idea. And again, if you've got an idea or whatever, then you can just mention something. So instead of me giving you as your final answer, guys, I'll just give it to you as your homework. Just try to say something there. So it's either, let me give you a hint, it's either you can say this side is actually an increasing side and maybe this side is a decreasing side, or this side is a decreasing side, this is an increasing side. But what matters the most is that you comment on the x value. So if we had maybe a function like that, let's say the turning point there, maybe it was -4, and the same question was asked, and this is that whatever. So if they say the x value and want to say, maybe I want to decide to say this is that decreasing whatever. So I'm going to say x in that direction. So that means it's going to be greater than what? That x value being -4 over there. Or otherwise, if I want to say from the center of that graph in that direction, that's where we have the graph increase. So it's more like you need to be aware that if you have a parabola, then from the turning point, this side, is it increasing or decreasing? That's what you need to know. From the turning point, is this side increasing or decreasing? That's what you need to know. And again, you also need to investigate for this one to say, from the turning point there, with the x being maybe 2, is this side increasing or is it decreasing? Is this side increasing or decreasing? Then when a question comes and they want you to comment on the x value, you already know to x, then what? Then 2. You just need to find out in terms of there whether you are having greater than or less than, or maybe greater than is equals to whatever. So can you see, I think I've given you a hint there. You can even try to guess it and send the homework via inbox. So the reason why I'm giving you this homework, I just want to see who has attended until the end, and I see who takes their homeworks seriously. So guys, quickly before I wrap up the lesson for today, I want to give you guys this strategy. I think I'll need to do a special video for that. I'll give an example. This is what I used to do. So on a Cartesian plane, there is x, there is y. This is the origin. So based on the lessons that we had, ladies and gentlemen, on Monday, you remember, guys, we discussed about a function similar to that, and we gave it a name to say this is exponential. And for it to be like that, that's possibly because we have y is equals to, let's say, maybe positive, what is it? No, it's positive positive a, let me just do positive there. So it's either positive or minus a, then we have b to the exponent x over there. And this function can also have plus q. And what else did we have, guys? We also had that. And what did we call this one? We called it, what is it? A hyperbola, possibly with the asymptotes within that. So maybe let's say the equation for this one is y being equals to, I think we said a could be positive or minus divided by, then we have x possibly plus p, and then plus q over there. Remember that q value, when I say the formula is at an adult stage, it doesn't matter whether it's just y, it's equals to, let's say, 3 over x. I can say it is at an adult stage. Why? Because p is 0 and again q is 0 there. So just treat it as an adult. For all the equations, treat the formula as an adult. So for example, if you have y is equals to 3x, we know this is a straight line. So that means the q value there is actually 0. In your mind, you know it's 0. But when you do calculations, you don't write it. So I just want to make you guys aware of what I mean when I say I always assume for all equations to be at an adult stage. Which other formula did we have, guys? I think we also have that one being, what is that, guys? We had that one being a parabola. And with regards to a parabola, we know very well that we've got, what is it? Malamulela. Ladies and gentlemen, I call these malamulela, meaning that is whatever. So let's see. The equation for this one could be y is equals to, it could be positive plus or minus ax squared plus bx plus c. I know because of that, it means it influenced the shape, which means it could be which other function did I miss, guys?
Straight line.
Oh yes, a straight line. So I'll just do something similar to that. It doesn't seem straight, but in your mind, you know, ladies and gentlemen, it's a straight line. So a straight line could be possibly y is equals to, still also here, we have plus or minus gradient x plus c. So what else do I know about the gradient? This is all that I know. So I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, it doesn't end there. What again I would do, for example, I would still draw another hyperbola like that, and also say this one, I don't need to give it a name. So I mean an equation. So let's name these functions, guys. The first one that I drew, which one was it? Can you now see things are getting complicated? So this is now A. The second one that I drew, let's assume it to be that one. This is now B. The third one, which one was it? I think is this one. Let's call it C of X. And then maybe this one, A, B, C, D, Desmond of X. And then I just drew that one is Elizabeth of X. What else, ladies and gentlemen? I can still draw this one again. This one again. What's the next letter? A, B, C, D, E, F. Franco. So this is Franco of X. What else, ladies and gentlemen? I still draw this one. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Georgina. Let's say this one is Georgina of X. What else, ladies and gentlemen, is there? Okay, yes, there's another one missing there. Can you see I had that one? So now I can also have that one like that. And what do we call this one? Remember, there's a possible asymptote over there. Let's see. Okay, invisible asymptote for that one is there. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. H. What's the name for H, guys? H. Is someone who wants to name that one, guys? With letter H. What can we call it? Guys? Let me see. Any name, guys? Let me see if these guys are still in the lesson. You might find that I'm alone here, talking alone. H. Okay, let's say a Tlholo. This is Tlholo of X. Guys, is this thing scaring you? Because you are quiet there. It seems like they just gave a teacher a list of noisemakers. Are you guys scared?
Yes, we are.
Hey. Shreyas, are you also scared there?
No, sir.
You are not scared?
Yes, sir.
Guys, all of you, if you are scared, just make sure that you close your doors, you lock them. You close your windows, you lock them. Make sure of that, guys. You shouldn't be scared at home. It's not good. But this is what I want to tell you guys. This is all that I've been doing when I was in high school. So I'm just going to give you a very quick story. So for me, when I go to write exam or test or whatever, it could be a surprise test. Not necessarily a surprise test, because with a surprise test you don't know. But if it's an exam, when I study, I don't go through past question papers. I don't go through the notes in class. I don't go through textbooks. I just look at these guys. I don't touch a calculator. I don't touch anything. Why? Because I've studied alone. First thing first. Just like I've taught you guys on Monday's lesson, you must go through Monday's lesson from the start until the end. Go through Tuesday's lesson from the start up until the end. It has all of these functions. Let's talk about a straight line. So for me, before I go to a maths exam, I just look at that straight line without a calculator and say, for this straight line, what I know about it is that it has got a positive gradient. And most importantly, it cuts the y-axis below. That means the c value is negative. Then I'm done for that one. That's how I used to practice. Instead of you spending 3 hours trying to calculate parabola and everything, you waste a lot of time, guys. You must strategically study. Just like in mathematics, we don't take long laughing. If there's something which is funny, you just say, "Ahi," or you just say, "Aha." Then you spare that laughter for some other time. So maybe when you're going to town to buy some Christmas clothes there, that's when you can start laughing. If they ask you, say, "Hey, I forgot to finish that laughter that my teacher did in class." So as a mathematical learner, that's how, ladies and gentlemen, we operate. Don't just laugh, because if you continue to laugh, guys, don't laugh. I said, you just say, ha, then you're done, because you missed some of the most important information. Guys, let's see. The reason why I labeled them A, B, and C and whatever, I know I have to talk about A to C. A is it's what? It's an exponential. And because it's like that, it means maybe that A value is positive, or maybe it's because that B value is greater than 1, or maybe it's between 1. And the Q value there, it's either shifted upwards, or if it did not shift, maybe the Q is 0. How do you know all of that? That's if you watch the lesson for Monday and Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, where is B? There's B. So can you see? This is hyperbola. So because it's in the second and the fourth quadrant, it possibly means my A is negative over there. And because the asymptotes are within the x-axis, it means P0, that is 0. So it hasn't shifted in any direction. Where is C? There is C. What is C? C is another. Hey, where is C? What is, oh, C is that straight line. Okay, I'm done with straight line. I'll just keep it. So A, B, C, D. Where is D? Hey, guys, can you see now? That is the reason why you need to draw everything in different markers. So I just have 2 markers there, but I'll just assume D to be that one, maybe C to be this one. So, but I'm sure you now have an idea of what I'm trying to explain. So that's why you buy those different markers to say, when you draw this one and you labeled E, then you know when you're going to revise it, you just do it as label E. Guys, unmute your mics. All of you guys try to unmute your mic if there's no background noise. I want to test you as I close today's lesson. If it's unmuted, just say unmuted.
Muted.
Okay, listen to this, guys. I'm going to sing to you a very nice song. Hydrogen, Haley B. Bokan of Ninamaga, Alsip Satloragon, Kikas TV Krum, M. Fekuneko Zing, Kaki Astebran, Krypton. I'm done. Ladies and gentlemen, is there someone who wants to guess what that is? I heard someone saying, wait.
It's A to Z.
No. It cannot be A to Z, because A to Z, I would say A, B, C, D, E. Good people, that was periodic table from hydrogen until the last atom. Would you believe it? Hydrogen, Haley B, Bokan of Ninamaga, Alsip Satloragon, Kikas active, Chromium, Emon, Fekonukuzing, Gage Asebram Krypton. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that thing of a periodic table for those of you who are doing physical sciences, whatever you have that. So the first atom is hydrogen. Do you agree?
Yes.
What is the next atom? It's hydrogen, helium, then what's next?
Lithium.
Okay. And then I'll just leave it there. Listen to myself. Hydrogen. What did you say this one is? Hydrogen. Okay. And then this one is helium. And then this one is what? Lithium. And then you guys say this one is boron. And whatever. So listen to this. Shuyas, hydrogen, Haley B. What is Haley B? So I know in my mind when I say Haley B, it's helium, lithium, boron. Hydrogen, Haley B, Bokhanov. Can you see in that Bokhanov there's carbon? There's what else are we having there? After carbon, what's next? Is it not nitrogen? So it's nitrogen. So it should be hydrogen, Haley B, Bokhanov. So do you guys have an idea of how I used to use my strategies to cram these things, guys? So in my chemistry, I would just draw all of this. Then I know that song, hydrogen, Haley B, Bokhanov, Ninamagal, Sip Satluragon, Casseptim. Hey, guys, over 10 years ago, I started this song. I still remember it even now. It helped me at varsity when we're doing a part of chemistry, because they just say what is the mass of maybe carbon. If you don't know at what number is carbon, then you get everything wrong. Guys, are you not inspired by this, guys?
We are.
So this should be an encouragement to you guys to find possible ways in order to cram these things, guys. So just make sure that as you study, you plan how you study and you know the starting point. When you study, you don't just open a book and study, you start from the start. So for those of you who send me inbox to say, help me with this, whatever, I just ignore it deliberately, because that is not the starting point, guys. I'm also going to give you some lifetime lessons to say, if you want to start a business, guys, don't start at where the business that you know is currently at. Start at the starting point. So don't just start at an advanced level. You need to know where is the starting point. Just like with this chapter that we're doing today. What we were doing today is not the starting point of today's chapter. You need to watch Monday and Tuesday's lesson from the start up until the beginning. Only after you can easily understand what we're doing today. Does it make sense, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so guys, this brings us to the end of our lesson for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. Before I say my name is Desmond and I'm out, when are you guys writing your paper 2 for those of you who are writing mathematics?
3 June.
June.
No.
Oh, so you are just not sure of the specific day. You just know it's in June. Eh?
Yes. Yes.
On the 14th of June, sir.
14th of June. Okay, no,
Paper
then it's fine.
Paper 2 is on 3 June and paper 1 is 13 June.
Okay, it's fine because you're in different grades. I'm just wondering in terms of whether on Monday I can start with electricity, because I know electricity is in all the grades. Have you guys, some of you guys in other schools, started with electricity? Because that is the next chapter.
No. No.
No, sir.
No. So in that case, it means we might need to continue with what is it? What is that chapter? That's trigonometry, because we haven't started it. We started it. Hey, what am I saying, guys? We started it.
So we started, but we didn't do graphs.
We started at it, but we didn't do the graphs. So that is where I need to take you guys. But we won't be starting with the function or the graphs, because there's another part in the middle which we skipped. I did it with Shreyas on one-on-one. I'm not sure if you remember Shreyas. So that's the part that we need to do. So that means over the weekend I need to prepare for that. Then first thing on Monday, we just do a bit of revision on what we have covered. Then from there, we start with the lesson for that one. Otherwise, I might present it tomorrow so that we push. That's if I don't have too much of a one-on-one lesson. So, but guys, I think maybe I should ask these questions in the end of the lesson so that I have a feel of what you guys are going through at home. What were the moments, or the good moments or good memories, or what moments would make you to watch this lesson again, guys, in today's lesson? It could be something that you feel like you learned something new, otherwise funny moments or whatever. What is it, guys? Is there someone who has those moments in this let me say memorable moments in this lesson?
Yes, sir.
When you say a day without learning something new is a day wasted.
Guys, never forget that one. A day without learning something new, it's a day wasted. So just make sure that each and every day you learn something new. And most importantly, in each and every lesson that I conduct, make sure that you learn something new. So guys, one step at a time. So next time it will be someone to just give the highlights. Good people, thanks very much for joining. Have a very good night. My name is Desmond, and I'm out.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.